Hey, everybody. Welcome to the newest episode of The Family Show, the show in which we talk about the Fast and Furious saga. This is the retrospective, where tonight we're going to be talking about the eighth entry in the franchise, which is The Fate of the Furious. And before we start on that conversation, I just want to bring on our panel for tonight. We do have with us Zach McDonald. Zach, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. I just finished watching this movie for the third time in the past 8 days. So I feel like I'm ready.
Are you really ready?
Yeah, I think so. Was that a riddle?
All right. Just okay. Making sure.
No, I'm
on
ready.
Top of that, perfect. We do also have with us John Lestrina, #Ladies Night. How you doing, John?
Hey, what's up? I too, like Zach, just watched this movie. I only watched it twice since last week, but I did watch it a couple weeks ago, so I guess that counts as well. But I'm ready to go as well.
All right, perfect.
Cuban Mile.
We also have with us Ferris Mathana, callsign Whiskers. How you doing?
Doing good.
How many times have you watched it in the past 8 days, though?
How many times did you watch it?
Half.
Nice.
Half?
Mm-hmm.
Only half?
Only half.
That's not a lot. And I'm sure you've watched it plenty of other times, though.
I mean, per 8 days, though, if you watch half of it per 8 days, that's still a lot.
Twice.
Yeah.
Makes it 2.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But last but certainly not least, we do have with us a special guest. He is Nick Mulbach from Watt Reel Entertainment. Nick, how are you doing today?
Hey, everybody. How's it going? I went back to reference where I had put the movie after I had went back and rewatched it and realized that I have 2 other Fast and Furious movies staring at me right back in the face that I've never seen before. So I have a lot of catching up to do. But no, I have watched the movie in order to catch up because Matt, who had brought me on for this, kept warning me ahead of time that this was going to be coming, and I'm excited to be here. So thank you.
Nick, didn't you work on this film?
Yes. So I was a part of Cleveland's Fast and Furious second unit link. That's the reason for the hat. This was my first experience with the franchise, and let me tell you, it is extreme. A lot of my points that I'll make throughout the episode based around episodes that I have watched will be more geared towards the production side of things. But like I said, really just thank you for having me, and really glad to be here on Schmoe the Money.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. I know that you had shared with us previously, Matt, you mentioned Cleveland again. I will time you out.
Yeah, I mean, what are we doing here?
What are we doing here?
I wanna get someone who loves me the way
in
Matt
New York.
loves Cleveland.
Come.
Well, that's a good goal to have. But yeah, I know that you said that you hadn't watched any Fast and Furious films other than Fate of the Furious and Hobbs and Shaw before we got started. However, you said you have 2. Is this physical media that you own? That you're referring to?
Well, I probably have more than that. I'm pretty sure that Matt's gotten me 7 on Blu-ray somewhere, and I have a lot to marathon, but
it's very weird that your only experience with the Fast and the Furious franchise is like all the post Paul Walker stuff.
Yes.
That's
You've missed all the best stuff.
Yeah,
that's what I've heard. See, I'm one of those people who went into Hobbs and Shaw and went, that was all right. And I know a lot of people don't necessarily love it as much as obviously they love the other.
I have a lot of fun with Hobbs and Shaw. However, it is not great, and we'll talk about that next week. But this week we're talking about Fate of the Furious. Now, Fate of the Furious came out in 2017. It's directed by F. Gary Gray. Who has he directed a whole lot of other films such as MIB International, which we all try to forget, and Friday, but most notably with Fate of the Furious, he became it was the highest opening weekend ever for a black filmmaker at the time of its release, to then be surpassed by Black Panther a year later. It also was, at the time of its release, the highest grossing film worldwide for a black filmmaker, the first film from a black filmmaker to cross $1 billion as well. So it had some great records that kind of went along with it. And it's interesting to kind of see how F. Gary Gray brought his eye to this film after we saw, there was Rob Cohen and John Singleton and then a lot of Justin Lin. But after James Wan, it kind of injected a whole new kind of eye to it. F. Gary Gray brought his own sense to the franchise. And I guess personally, it felt more like he was just trying to keep up with what had occurred before, as opposed to adding something new to it the way James Wan had. And he, for the most part, succeeded for what he could do. However, I do think that this film, you could absolutely feel that there was this piece missing. And it's absolutely the fact that Paul Walker was no longer with us. So what many people have called the heart of the franchise, Brian, he's not in the film, and you can feel what the series is like without it. It's just these guys on a mission with something bad happening, and It still has some fun stuff. It still has some enjoyable moments, but it's definitely a step down from the previous 3 films, I think. However, what we can do is, why don't we just kind of hop right into it? Now, I did notice, we talked about this a bit before the show. There weren't as many quotes this time around. Normally, Nick, we have a whole bunch of quotes that we kind of love to just kind of throw around. At first, we tried to do a couple of different sections and then get to the quotes until we realized that half the show leading up to the quote section was us already quoting the film. So we thought, why not just try to get them all out at once if we can? And we're never successful. We remember something halfway through the show anyway. But Nick, I know that you said a lot of your I guess your perspective here and things you like, you might have a story behind it. Do you have any just quotes in general? I don't know if you have any stories behind them, or just if you have a fun quote that you like from the film.
Well, to be honest, a lot of mine come from the part where like Roman Reigns is entered into the film and The Rock is interacting with him for the first time. And I'm a huge wrestling fan. Chris and I do our wrestling show. So hearing that another pro wrestler, obviously,
Roman Reigns was in this film. Hold up, are we doing Hobbs and Shaw?
Are you thinking of Hobbs and Shaw?
I'm thinking of Hobbs and Shaw. You know what? Matt was reminding me of some quotes beforehand. I think he might have done the Hobbs and Shaw one. Oh my gosh. I
was very confused. I
don't know who Roman Reigns is, so this doesn't matter. I wasn't confused at all.
See, I'm getting the 2 films that I've seen mixed up.
Mateo Hobbs and Hobbs and Shaw.
Okay.
Yes, The Rock is one of my favorite actors of all time, and I'm sure that many of my stories will add to him when it comes to later on. But pretty much anything by The Rock is quotable in my brain. So
yeah, he's got some good back and forth with Shaw. In here,
there's definitely one of the best lines is, without a doubt, it's going
to
be
beat your ass like a Cherokee
drum. Yeah. I'm gonna beat your ass like a Cherokee drum. That's probably my favorite line in the whole film, mostly because I don't think that it's super quotable. Oh, look at that! You got a fan.
Wow, he's never posted anything like that about me.
Hey, I'm gonna hop back. My internet's shitty right now.
All right. Well, it's fine. But it looks like for whatever reason we have someone hanging out backstage.
Oh no!
So I'm just gonna bring him on real quick. He insisted he wouldn't be on for this show, and yet he's here.
Can't a man change his mind after being bored and watching Mortal Kombat?
Wait, hold on. Bored and watching Mortal Kombat? Please don't tell me Mortal Kombat is boring.
I like the movie. No. I'm just saying, after watching Mortal Kombat.
After Mortal Kombat, he was bored.
I got you. I thought you meant like you just watched Mortal Kombat, very bored. I need a pick me up after that snooze fest. Okay,
not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, nothing says let's entertain ourselves like a world without Paul Walker.
Well, here's the thing. Quiz show. This is a quote from the movie too, and I'll just say it right now. You got all this time. I'll give you time to talk, but I'm gonna drink this tea, and I'm fucking thirsty. So.
No, I'm fucking thirsty. Okay.
Well, my favorite one of my favorite
Worst
quotes is when he
artist.
says, "I'm gonna knock your teeth so far down your throat you're gonna have to shove a toothbrush up your ass to brush them." Like that one.
Yes.
That one was nice. That one was
Yeah,
nice.
that's a good
Indeed.
one. there.
Again,
Yeah.
all of his lines to Shaw are great.
Zach, do you have a line of yours that you'd like to bring up?
Yeah, I think like very early on in the movie, we meet D.S. Allen, who is like just sort of this mysterious government agency figure who is trying to get Hobbs, to go on another mission, and he makes note of how many mothers there seem to be in the stands.
Mhm.
And Hobbs is like, they like to support the kids. And
It's a big soccer town.
His response is, there seem to be more moms than kids. Way more moms. And the way that he says way more moms, and then it cuts back to just a full bench of like 30-year-old women is really funny. And it's a good way to sort of kick off that portion or his portion of the movie.
It's definitely a nice tongue-in-cheek way to kind of, because we're so used to at least from Fast 5 and Fast and Furious 6, Hobbs is such a hard ass, and then we see just a little bit more about his own personal life in the hospital with his daughter. So then here we see him actually about participating. Oh, I don't know what that was.
Sorry, that was you, Jeff. My apologies.
Yeah.
Participating in his daughter's life, and we get to see what that's like and what it's like for his job to interfere with his own personal life, as probably so many people have issues where their job gets in the way. So it's very fun to see. They probably thought it was a funny idea, and it was, to see this big macho guy be a girl dad. And get the entire soccer team to do one of those. What's it called?
Haka?
The haka, yeah.
Yeah, the
And I thought that was
Well,
very
technically, due to the fact that The Rock is not Maui, it's technically a C Vital. So there's a difference.
Thank you for the correction. Was not aware. Yeah, he's Samoan. He's not.
Yes, he's Samoan. He's not Maori.
Yeah, gotcha. John, do you have any quotes that you like?
I always like when you introduce Little Nobody with Mr. Nobody before he's known as Little Nobody, but after when Hobbs is going to prison and thing, and he's Mr. Nobody lets Little Nobody go through the motions, take the charge, and pisses off Hobbs, and he's still working from the manual. He's still green, and Hobbs says, yeah, he's green as shit. So it's like
green as baby shit.
Green as baby shit. Sorry, forgive me.
Zach beat me to it. God damn it.
That's a good one. There's one that I liked from
Know your audience.
Yeah.
There's one from this is right in the very beginning after there's the whole conversation between him and the guy who's taking his cousin's car. There's that whole thing. I'm gonna keep it about the car, and he knows it's not what's under the hood. The only thing that matters is who's behind the wheel, and then we see exactly why that is. But the line that I actually liked the most was actually the girl who spoke in Spanish when she was doing the countdown, and in Spanish she said, "Be fast, be safe, but don't be last."
But she also said, "This is Havana," which is a callback to "This is London, baby."
This is Brazil.
Yeah, and this is Brazil. The characters in these movies have a habit of just announcing where they are.
Hey man, you know what? Shout out to Rita Ora. Shout her out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan.
Baby.
I'm a big fan of them just kind of announcing where they are and exactly how they feel, such as "You embarrass me,"
Yes,
which is a great
absolutely.
line. And
That is
a great line, dude.
Get out.
Now I'm in
it
your
has
face.
stuck with me ever since.
"You embarrass me" is just such a prime fucking quote. I wish they used it in every movie. Kind of like, how in Star Wars they say, "I've got a bad feeling about this" in every movie. I wish that in Fast movies somebody said, "You embarrass me." That'd make the whole series, as good as the series is, it'd be better if that was
horrible
in every
has to
movie.
happen Like something horrible would have to happen for them to say you embarrassed me. Like he has to like completely fuck up. You know what I mean?
Well, no, I mean
So-
Vince is just a fucking dumbass in the first one, and that's why he says it in the first place. So
Exactly. But now in
you
the
can literally just
sequel
say it to Rome in every movie.
The
exactly.
Corona's in the fridge. And it's
Speaking of
Thursday, I'm
Rome,
making
he
sure
actually
it's
he actually has
after.
one of my favorite lines, and
Oh, yeah?
the line itself isn't like spectacular, but the context behind the line is what makes it amazing. It was one after he says 11 my ass. He says 11 my ass because they're going down like the top top 10 most wanted list, and then they're like, oh yeah, Ramsey's 8th, Tej is 9th, Dom is 4th. He's like, where am I at? 11th. 11 my ass. What?
What?
And
That's
then-
not even
and
in
then-
this movie. What are we doing?
It is in the movie.
Isn't that in 7? Wouldn't we just talk about
No,
that?
no.
They've all been pardoned. Are you saying did I miss something as well? Are they back on a list?
Yeah, they're
What?
back on the list. They're always on the list.
They were
Oh
pardoned.
wait, no.
No,
You're right. You're right. That
I
is
was
this
right.
That's right. It's after they get the EMS. Dude,
Yeah.
I've watched too many of these movies and very close.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh,
remember they go they go to
Yeah.
prison because they get caught because they stole the device. But then like the
yeah.
U.S. government does their thing where they break.
Later,
Oh, they did that thing
Roman
where-
calls back to being number 11 after just somehow becoming an expert marksman.
Hey.
Yes.
That's my action scene, asshole.
I thought you were
Oh, shoot.
talking.
Whatever.
I was
yeah.
trying to back you up, Ferris. Jeez.
Yeah,
Rome
it's a
beats
gr-
the
it's a
shit out of
great
a bunch
scene.
of people on snowmobiles and says 11 my ass.
Yes.
Yeah, we know.
That's
Yes.
right. That's right.
It,
Yeah,
it harkens back to Too Fast, Too Furious for you, Zach, when Roman was a crazy person and he didn't take shit from nobody. He showed us,
know.
see, I still got some juice. I ain't no punk. You know what I mean?
You know, that's a
Like,
good
this
point
is,
because
this is Barstow Roman.
even though he does come into the franchise as comic relief in a sense, he's also very much like an insane, like not scared of anything kind of badass because like he's
Joker.
stealing from Carter Verone, like just crazy stuff like that, and you're like, what is this guy's insane? But yeah, you're right. Like in
Well, of course he is. He's a double
Furious
alpha.
7 when he's like, he's scared to jump out of the plane. That doesn't really fit with his character.
Yeah,
I think they took it. I think they took the comedic nature of his character and somehow conflated that with like being,
Well,
like not a
that-
tough guy.
that happens sometimes where a supporting character has the things that were enjoyable about them in the beginning and kind of they take that stuff and overblow them. I mean, like
Yeah.
one thing that I would think of is like for instance, like Johnny Depp in the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, he was much more of kind of like all over the place, kind of crazy guy in the first film, but he was always more competent than he actually seemed. And then they kept leaning into how wild and crazy he was, and it didn't always fit in the later films. So
That's why
I
the,
think
that's
they,
why
they
the
do the
first
same thing.
Pirates is the best Pirates.
It's the this is absolutely true. If anyone saw Tyrese's
Yes. You know what?
number on
Honestly,
Instagram.
but here's
Well, and
the
I
thing.
agree with him. I do not want The
Big
Rock
paycheck.
to take over the
Here's
franchise.
Neither
the
do
thing.
I.
Here's the
Rock
thing,
is
guys.
an imposter.
Because they
Sorry,
see
Nick.
they see what he did with GI Joe. They killed GI Joe in the second film in the first 10 minutes. They killed
Whoa, spoiler alert. What the
Duke,
fuck?
not G.I. Joe. Duke is not G.I. Joe.
whatever his
Yeah,
name
Duke
is.
was
They
not
killed
the original
Channing
Joe
Tatum.
was Bruce Willis.
That's true. Good point. But still, they killed Channing Tatum because they're like,
It
we're
is a
giving
good
it to
point.
The Rock.
Well, the thing
We're
is
giving
though,
it to The Rock.
Channing Tatum wasn't going to be in the movie much at all anyway. The whole point was they were going to
Just-
kill him off
hey.
anyway.
Just remember, without that G.I. Joe film, we don't get In the Heights. We don't get Crazy Rich Asians. So hey,
Wait,
I'll
what?
take it, even though that movie's trash.
Really? Why?
Yeah, wait, why?
Why?
That was John Chu. That was John Chu's directorial debut.
What?
G.I.
John Chu
Joe
directed GI Joe
Retaliation?
Retaliation?
Yeah,
That's not his debut.
Ma-
He did some
it might not be
He
his
did some
debut. I know it's
step-up
one of his
movies.
first films. Though.
He did some Step Up movies before that. Let me see. Hold on.
No, you're right.
Oh.
Step Up was his debut. Retaliation is when
Yeah, he
people-
did Step Up to
hell
the
yeah.
Streets, Step Up 3D, Justin Bieber, Never Say Never, and then G.I. Joe Retaliation. And then he did another.
Ferris, you want to
Justin Bieber.
talk up? You want to talk Step Up to the Streets?
Yes.
When we do the Step Up franchise, you guys can talk about Step Up too.
Shout out to Dustin Hoffman. Rob Hoffman.
will
Sorry.
I was like, doesn't
Very
I was
different
like,
people. Super different people.
searching my memory.
Incredibly different people.
Okay, anyway, speaking of Rome and
Anyways.
quotes, one of my favorite ones, and also all the scenes with Little Nobody are very fun. I love Little Nobody as a
It's
addition.
disappointing that he's not going to be in F9.
Oh, he's
I can
not?
live
Oh,
with
that's
that.
No,
unfortunate.
I just pulled him up. He's
Oh,
only
fuck.
credited.
Sorry.
First of all, it's funny because his name is Eric Reisner, but he's actually credited as Little Nobody as well,
Yes.
which is hilarious. But he's only on the main cast list for the franchise under Fate. He's not listed for F9.
Oh,
At
okay,
least as
so
of right now.
Because we already have Kurt Russell. So,
yeah,
like,
Kurt Russell's great.
no
as
more
Nobody.
government agents that call themselves nobody.
Yeah, Mr. Nobody's also not credited for 9.
Damn.
There's
I
still
love
10
Kurt
to
Russell.
11, so
There's
Yeah.
still time for them. There's still maybe they'll be uncredited, but I love Mr. Nobody. I want to see more of him.
Yeah,
I'd love to see
so
a prequel.
there's a scene where Tej and Ramsey are reversing the God's Eye ping signal because there must be a flea relay. So if we do something techno jargon, and they start to narrow it down, and they think that they're locating where Dominic is, and Little Nobody's like, I need to get a team ready to deploy for Dominic Toretto or something like that. And then Rome kind of just comes up next to him, and he's like, let's get a hold of a better asshole. Nobody respects you. Over.
Yeah, no.
And it's great.
One that I like as well is when he was like picking out which car he wanted, and Little Nobody was not having it because he really wanted the orange Lamborghini. And he says, "You're gonna take that one down there." Oh yeah, I like your beard. Yeah, you're Blanta, Black Santa.
Black Santa. Yeah, he's like, no. He's like, no. Seriously, put it down.
I like your face.
And he goes,
just get the car down because the guy was not having it. He wasn't having it at all.
it's neon orange. The International Space Station. We'll see it coming.
All right.
I like that.
So before I go switch to my computer, because I'm gonna hop out of here to go to my computer, I will
Good for
say,
you're perfect.
well, I'm just coming back to my point. One of my favorite quotes. All right.
Oh no!
Froze.
What's your favorite quote?
wow, how
Man.
dramatic.
You just said more.
I cannot wait until he gets back on his computer to finish that thought.
No. Because my phone jumped on the house Wi-Fi.
He's back.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no. Jason Statham saving Baby Brian in the plane. Just all the one-liners throughout it.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's the best scene in the whole movie.
Yeah, it is.
The best sequence in the whole movie.
It's
I will
a
see
great,
y'all
great
in a minute.
sequence. We'll get to that one. So, all right. So, in the meantime, Nick, as you can see, we literally just go through quotes on quotes on quotes.
I have one more
quotes.
quote.
Oh
So
yeah,
do I.
what's that?
Yeah,
Oh,
this quote is
cool.
it's actually Ramsey, right? Where Tej and Roman are like trying to vie for her affection, and they're like, "Yeah, ask us anything." She was like, "What's my last name?" And they're like,
Wait, no, that scene's funnier though because Rome's like they do this like whole like bachelorette setup where Rome's like, okay, so who's it gonna be? Revenge of the Nerds or
Dark Knight.
I forget. Yeah, oh yeah, The Dark Knight, right? That's what he says.
Yeah.
And she goes, to be honest, I like both of you. And they're like, oh, and they like give each other a fist bump, and that's really funny. She's like,
Yeah.
but, and then that's when she goes into the but.
"Yeah."
Can
like,
either of
Tej's like-
you?
Tej's just
Do we
like,
even know what
it's
my
gonna
last
be
name is?
That's all that really matters.
Yeah.
Roman's like Jones, Miss Parker. It's so stupid.
You were
I
gonna
agree.
shoot a
That's-
baby,
that's a
you
funny.
sick bastard. Another line that I really liked was when they were running through they were going through like the flashback thing of like how it was that they were able to make Shaw look like he was dead when he's not really. And one thing that I really enjoyed there was when he's meeting with his mom and he's talking about they're talking about the God's Eye, and Helen Mirren, who's just great, just goes, it's called the Devil's Bumhole or whatever.
Yeah. I thought about writing that one down, but I thought somebody else was going to pick it up. She's like, it's incredible. They can find anybody. They've got this thing, the Devil's Bumhole or something.
And he's
And
like,
he's
it's
like,
called
God's
the God's
Eye?
Eye. And she's like, oh,
And she's
whatever.
like, yeah, that. Yeah, whatever. And
So,
just the way that the way that also in that scene where Deckard's just like, no, I'm not taking Owen. The dude is a total fuck up. And she's like, he is your brother. He's my son. You're gonna take him.
yeah.
And I'm like, no,
That's
Deckard is
exactly
right.
how that happens.
Your son, your other child is a serial killer. Do not bring him along to save a baby.
He is a straight up killer.
Yeah.
I mean, so is Deckard.
I mean, Deckard is. It's a little like he's definitely a murderer. We went over this last week, but it's like not as egregious. It seems like very sort of targeted, very like functional killings, if you will. I mean, he's an assassin, so all of his killings have a purpose behind them. Whereas Owen is just a serial killer.
He is just a
kills
straight up
people for fun.
and a straight
Yes.
straight terrorist. He is a terrorist.
Yes, right.
And
Yes.
like, so he had that huge accident, burned up a lot of his body, and he was totally fine to do like a whole espionage mission on a plane.
Fuck yeah, dude, he was hyped. He wanted that
lends
plane.
credence to the idea that Giselle is never actually dead. But
No,
we'll see.
she's
As of right now,
100% alive.
She's
Oh,
100%
what?
alive. Unlike Han, Han is
What a
definitely
twist.
dead.
Han's definitely dead.
I
Oh,
just have
definitely
dead.
I just one more quote. It's between Dom and Cypher, and it's Dom saying, "A problem with putting a foot on a tiger's neck, you can never let it up." It's like, what does it even mean, Dom? It's great, but what does it even mean?
Well, it's great because then after he kills Tormund, whatever his real name is, I don't know. But
Tormund.
and he's on the video call with Cypher, and he's like, "You just took your foot off the tiger's neck." And you're like, "Oh fuck, the beast is loose."
I also have another quote that's really funny. That you remember when they open the doors, right? They open the doors and Deckard like leaves, and then like Luke like runs after him, and there's a guy who's like, "I've been waiting for a long time for this," and then like Hobbs punches him in the face, and says, "Keep waiting, bitch." And then, like,
Yeah, no,
runs
I
away.
wrote that down too. Love it. Love that one. Yeah.
Also have another one that where
we've definitely
like
talked
the,
about this.
the
Definitely
oh
talked
my
about
bad,
resurrections.
Jeff.
Sorry, I just wanted to go through this. We've definitely talked about the resurrections. This series is just an incredibly high budget, action packed soap opera. You know, we literally have the I'm pregnant. You're going to be a dad. You've had the baby, and then oh no, your ex is actually back from the dead, but she has amnesia. Oh, but she now remembers everything. And twist, you're also a father.
Hey, dude, it's like a season of Days of Our Lives.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Only
Or-
there's
or-
also a serial killer played by Luke Evans.
Yes.
Yes. Also one of the things, like, you know, when that like no nonsense government agent's like, we need you to. I was like, it's like, and then like he's going like, yo, they're gonna be sad. Then I'm gonna have to spend all that time at Tay Tay concerts. And he's like, Tay Tay, Taylor Swift, you got to be shitting me. He's like, if you don't leave me alone right now, as I cheer my team on, I will have all 12 of them line up and kick you in your Tay-Tay.
Yeah,
So
no,
say
I like
go
that one
Dragons.
too. I think
Dragons.
let's move on to it because
Louder.
I thought we weren't going to have that many
Dragons.
quotes,
Better.
Yeah.
but we've spent nearly half an hour talking about it now.
I haven't even gotten to my third quote.
Oh my god, you said more than three. But what's your final quote?
Well, yeah, I know. You know, once we get going, the lists start coming out.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
you know. I like the sequence when they all have Dom after he's just stolen the nuclear football, and they have all the little scorpion spear stabbing into his car. And it's from Luke and then Tej and then Shaw, and they go. Luke says, or Hobbs, he's got to have about 2,000 horsepower in that thing, and then Tej says, try 3,000, and then Shaw says, try 5. And I'm like, guys, what are you talking about? 5,000 horsepower is like a fucking funny car. Like, no, he does not have 5,000 horsepower in this Charger. That would be absurd, but it's funny. And it makes no difference in that scene because, you know, but I love it.
Away.
Those are the types of scenes, the quotes that I love, though.
Exactly. So speaking of, how much horsepower is under the hood, this was a little more difficult this time around, talking about what our favorite cars might be.
Yes, it was.
Nick, what did you get to be around any of the cars when you were on set?
Yes, actually, all of them that were in the scene where they're trying to capture Dom inside of his car. Which I mean, I do have the ice charger here. It was a gift from somebody because they
Ooh,
were like,
nice.
"Oh, you were in that movie." But no, my favorite car, and they're all big and they're all really cool. And my favorite stunt, we'll get into something that has to do with more of the cars when it comes to it later. My favorite car, and it's going to be no surprise, but I do have reasons for it, is The Rock's big, ginormous, hulking car that he drives around in the movie. And the reason is because well, when you're working in the downtown area, there's a lot of people who think that they can just get away with walking on the set because they need to get to wherever it is that they need to be. And though I completely respect that people have jobs and they need to get to where they need to be, it is a safety hazard, obviously, for them to walk where all these cars are going off, and it's just terrible. One of my favorite moments on set, and it's more or less because the guy did not get hurt, and I'm very happy about that. Is this guy was very entitled and was yelling at me walking by, going, "Well, I work for the government. I need to go to my job." Blah blah blah. And as he's walking away from me, as I'm calling to the head PA, going, "Oh my gosh, this guy is walking," the Rock's car just goes right by, and he's like, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, oh that is brilliant." Now, unfortunately, the Rock was not the one driving in it. It was all just stunt people on set for when I was there, but it was, I don't know, satisfying to see the Rock's car just zip by there and scare the shit out of somebody when they obviously were
I heard
expecting
The
it.
Rock can't drive. Like he gets not vertigo, but like he gets like nauseous, and like he can't drive his car. Like that scene where in Hobbs and Shaw where they're driving that big ass truck. The Rock isn't there. They projected his body into the car.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
because he
odd.
suffers from some like a. I don't know if it's vertigo or something, but like something that like
It's
completely
odd
gives
that a
him
guy
nausea.
who's involved in so many crazy kind of stunt related films can't
Yeah.
like sit in a driver's seat.
So, Nick, how would you
Yeah.
describe the stunt actor? I'm curious.
Whoa.
Oh gosh,
God?
yeah. Hello, disembodied voice of Matt Thomas. The stunt driver. The thing is as long as they can vaguely look like what they're trying to replicate, it's good. I mean, Bruce Willis, his stunt double gets paid almost as much as he is. 'Cause
Motion sickness.
He
Yes,
is
motion sickness.
he is in every
Sorry,
single.
Sorry,
He's in basically every single scene that Bruce Willis is in because Bruce Willis doesn't like acting anymore and gets paid $1 million to be on set today. That said, this was a very tall, got that down at least, old man with long hair. Very good at his job, don't get me wrong. But every single time that he'd get into the Rock's car, he'd slap on this bald cap, but didn't even hide the rest of his hair underneath it. It was just like, well, he looks good enough. Just go in there. But like I said, he was fantastic at what he did. But yeah, like the guy didn't look anything like The Rock. I've seen stunt doubles that are supposed to actually look like the stunt doubles that one of my friends' roommates, it was Tom Holland's for Cherry when they were here. He looks like Tom Holland. On the other hand, this guy just did not look like The Rock. So it was kind of funny to me. I didn't even bring it up to anybody else. I was just kind of like, that's kind of strange. Let me see if I can catch that movie. I did not, unfortunately.
I suppose if you get to be inside of a car with somewhat tinted windows and they're kind of like zigging and zagging and moving past, you can probably get away with quite a bit more for what your stunt person looks like.
Yeah.
But good for him. That's pretty sick.
Yeah. That's cool.
Hey, Nick, did Debbie Evans work this movie?
The name does not sound familiar to me, but I was kind of just like, my job was basically to direct traffic, direct many people away from actually going on set
and watch all the cool shit happen right in front of them.
Yeah, and it's a lot worse when there are like people here that are notable. But they definitely know that something is being filmed and they want to be involved, but that's why we have extras. And if you're not an extra, we need to just keep you as far away as possible.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I even had
Um,
a vest on that made me look ridiculous.
Oh, that's good. Glad you looked official. So that's
Yeah.
good at least.
Well, being tall, they give you a one-size-fits-all traffic vest. And
Yeah.
would have been a crop top if I wasn't wearing
Yeah,
shorts.
I was gonna say. So it's a crop top vest.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's still
My
something.
dad works downtown and took a picture of me in the news.
I bet you looked adorable in it.
Oh,
Ferris, do you have a favorite car from this film?
Two cars.
Well, say one of them
it-
just so you don't steal someone else's. All right.
Pick
All right,
one
fine,
first.
fine. Okay, fine. I'll the one that's right away. The 61 Chevy Impala Sport Coupe at the beginning of the film, the one that's all red with the white stripe on the side. That's my type of car. I love it. You know.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's a
that
good
one.
That's a
good one.
very pretty one. Listrina.
My top one is Letty's 1966 Chevy Corvette Stingray.
Oh,
Bastard, you bastard.
Toy
Why
shop.
would you do that? This is the first time I was going against the grain on the new cars, and you took it right from me.
Damn.
I apologize, Zach. I think it's the coolest looking one in the scene in New York. But yeah, that was my number one.
Well, I'm guessing that's also your number one, Zach.
I mean, it was. I'm pretty. I stay pretty true to like the newer cars for the most part. I rarely go for the old school muscle cars, but I do really love Corvettes, and the '66 Stingray is especially cool. But I guess if not that, I mean, Rome's Murcielago is pretty sick. I suppose probably should have thrown some snow tires on it before heading to Antarctica.
I took notes about that. That was my choice.
You know.
My choice was the Lambo because it is 100% impractical.
fucking took mine.
It
That
made
is
no
that
sense to
is mine.
use, but it served a purpose. It served a purpose. It taught little nobody that there are no rules. It
That's right.
helped-
Rule number 3
it
is that there
helped
are no
teach
rules.
him. There are no rules. And as soon as he's like, I got it. I know what number 3 is. There are no rules. Like 2 seconds ago, he was fucking pissed, and then he suddenly was like, actually, I'm in, guys.
Yeah.
So I mean, something about the double alpha just got to him.
Okay, can we talk about the worst car real quick? Because
Sure.
it's little nobody's car in the
Yes.
same scene that he's driving a fucking Subaru BRZ. What are you doing? You have all these like super cars in front of you, and like not even the WRX STI, which is like a legitimately sick car. A fucking BRZ. What on earth, dude? It's insane.
Hey,
Can
the
I point out
the
something
Jaguar F-Type Coupe S. That's black.
How about
They all got-
Yes, I agree.
how about and it's funny because they both times that I think of something that's like, okay, something bad could happen here, then the film explains itself about that, and I'm like, okay, cool, thank you for thinking about that. One of them was when Rome's driving on the ice in the Lambo, and I'm like, he's gonna start skidding. He does not have snow tires on. He doesn't have chains. He has nothing. And then he immediately starts skidding after I think that. And then Tej is like, "Oh, you forgot your snow tires." And
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh,
No,
cool. All right."
you know what,
well,
Zach?
they at least acknowledge that.
You know what, Zach? You know what
What's
car
up,
I
Chris?
didn't really like was the Bentley Continental. The design and the color pattern of the car just didn't look good. Like you just
Yeah,
didn't
I
look good 'cause, like,
agree.
it was
I
all
mean-
white and like the middle was like maroon. And
Yeah, it's
then,
got that brown or
apparently I don't
maroon
like
kind of color,
Bentleys.
yeah.
Yeah, apparently I don't like
No,
Bentleys.
Bentleys
man,
are
'cause the
Bentleys
way
are
the Bentley
sick,
was-
but I agree
That
that
Bentley
one in
wasn't.
particular is not. It doesn't look very good, and it didn't fit at all. It doesn't fit with the Fast and Furious aesthetic either. But again, neither does
Well,
like the
it fit
Bugatti from
the-
Furious 7,
yeah.
and that car's still sick. So, but whatever.
Also, of course, the most colorful looking car is driven by Roman Pierce.
Of course.
Like
He's
the
a
most out of
peacock.
place.
He's a peacock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta
But
pee,
like
gotta let
the
him
other
fly.
thing that came to mind with all the cars was the moment when the sub is about to blow up and it's obvious Dom's about to get fried. All the cars are like at that exact moment, they swarm and surround him as though they're like this big shield. And then no one gets hurt by this giant and I'm thinking to myself, there are nuclear bombs on there. and then it blows up, and then I'm like, okay, cool. You're saying that none of the fire or heat like bled through like the obvious openings between the cars to still hurt Dom. But
Well-
then when it came to the nukes, Tej then said, well, without the pins or whatever. And I'm like, okay, I mean, at least you explained it away.
So if I can put on my engineering pants here just for a second, the funny thing about them shielding him from the explosion is that the thing that kills you in an explosion or that is dangerous about an explosion is not the fire. You know, the fire is very small range. It is the shock wave. It is the pressure differential that kills you. And surrounding somebody with your cars will not protect you from that shock wave. So
it's a superhero franchise. Remember, it's a superhero
all of
franchise.
them should have died right there, which
It's
is
a
what's really
superhero.
funny.
It's a superhero.
I know, it's a
Zach,
superhero
That
movie.
explosion.
So.
Zach,
And
Zach, the cars are custom made, reinforced. You know what I mean, see, that's the thing.
Wait,
Yeah, that's all I gotta say.
What does this make,
Bateman's.
Ben? What does it make, Ben? Happy.
Oh,
It's a wild Ben Bateman.
Thank you, Ben.
Ben
Like,
Bateman, nice to see
was
you
that
there.
was that a Simple Jack reference? I don't get it.
Never go full retard.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hey, I'm quoting the film. I'm quoting the
Okay.
fucking film.
Sorry.
wait.
Fucking
Is
assuming.
is Bateman just happy because we're able to keep his mind off of his second shot that he's been bitching about on Twitter all day?
No. Here's what matters most. Okay, hot people got Pfizer and he got Moderna, so he has to deal with it.
Oh,
He's
shit.
mad. He's mad that he's not declared hot.
He's
very
running
angry.
nitro
Wow.
meth. He's running nitro meth.
Oh, dude.
Only pussies run nitro meth.
100% agreed. 100% agree. We talked about
Yes,
it
I
earlier.
agree with that.
It's
Yeah.
enjoyable, but it's definitely a dip from from Fast Five,
honestly, man,
Furious 6 or
no,
7.
Let's also talk about the Ford Fairlane Crown Victoria at the beginning of the film, where they're racing the Cuban car. That car was very nice. I liked it. Where Raldo, that's his name, Raldo. Yeah, that guy.
You
The
tried to
fastest
get the
car on
word
the
out, and
island.
eventually it got out. So I'm proud of you.
Yeah, his name is Raldo. Yes.
And he helps them pull off their little maneuver with the Shaw brothers also, right?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, we don't get it explained how he gets to New York or anything. How he knew to go to the alley, but he's there.
And from Cuba especially.
Yes, from
Right.
When I
Cuba
watched
especially.
it last time, I'm like, come on, guys, getting into the
So
US
why
from
don't
Cuba,
we,
not an easy task.
since we were just kind of like talking about some of that stuff, we'll just hop into the stunts. Like when it comes to stunt, obviously we're talking about the best, what we think is the most exciting sequence. A lot of us might feel like maybe it has to do with the
City of
the
Cleveland.
submarine. A lot of us definitely think that it's the Shaw brothers on the, which is funny that it's the Shaw brothers and Shaw.
Well, it's
brothers are like
it's
also-
Deckard Shaw on
Yeah,
the plane.
no, I
It's
know,
not
but I'm saying the Shaw brothers,
brothers.
and I think Shaw brothers are like martial artist filmmakers too.
Oh,
And then
okay.
here are two guys that do martial arts moves together called the Shaw brothers.
Tej's Mercedes was very blah. It
Yeah.
was just
Yes,
it was like your generic fancy schmancy car, you know? It's
Yeah, it
nothing-
was like
nothing
it was a
special.
standard, government agency car. Which
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
It's fine.
which it's the
Yeah.
exact kind of car they make fun of at the beginning of Fast 6, right? When they're getting their custom cars made, and he's like, "Yo, government issued Mercedes Benz aren't going to cut it."
Mhm.
So when it came to the stunts, I mean, obviously there are a couple really big ones. I know my favorite definitely is probably
Who's
the
got
one with
soccer
Deckard Shaw
going
and
on?
then Owen on the plane. That's Philly. It's just Philadelphia being Philadelphia. It happens. So I'm sure someone's dead.
I actually have a question. I actually have a question for Nick. Nick.
Yeah.
How practical are these films?
They're very practical. They're well, when it comes to the practicalness, I guess I do have somewhat of a story. At school, I was at one of our community colleges, and a friend of mine who was in one of my classes was on locations. And one day, maybe a few weeks after we wrapped up, he goes up to me during class and he hands me just a handful of blank shells from when they were doing the big shoot 'em up scene out of the car in the middle of the intersection. And I'm like, oh, well, thank you for that's a strange thing to be handing to somebody at school. But no, everything, and then I guess I'll get into my personal favorite stunt. Was when they were all dropping cars out of the garage, and all of the cars that were programmed to obviously move on their own are all falling out of the parking garage. Now, yes, I did happen to be on one of those floors, and it's a good story to tell. But I just honestly, it was a technical marvel, but it kind of proves to the budget of those movies that they can drop like, and they only did a few takes of it, but they could drop so many cars out of the building. But no, everything that we did,
Wait, you tell me they actually dropped cars off of those buildings?
Yes,
They just
all the
dropped them?
cars.
They just dropped them.
Yep, continuously. They had these like conveyor belts that were dropping the cars off through the windows, which was really it was cool to see. The day I was not there, the day that the scaffolding fell over as they were driving through, because it happened to be my sister's graduation and I forgot. But it was yeah, pretty much everything that I saw when they drove through the flower shop. It was a completely practically made flower shop that wasn't obviously a piece of Cleveland. You could see I believe that they did have a couple of them set up.
I have another question,
and-
Nick. I also have another question after you're done.
Yeah.
Keep asking.
So I heard. What the hell was that? What the hell was that?
My phone went off.
The baseball
sorry.
game? That's all?
Yeah.
No,
I
basketball.
heard. Okay. I heard Nick. So I heard they had to fly. What's his face? Tyrese Gibson. Yes, they had to fly Tyrese Gibson to Antarctica to film those scenes of him going underwater and him doing the shoot. He hitting somebody with the car door and shooting someone in the face. Is that true?
He was only on the Cleveland unit first.
Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, I was only on the Cleveland unit. So
What
as
were
my
the Cleveland
associate,
scenes?
Matt Thomas spoke for me.
Sorry.
I was only on the Cleveland unit. So basically, it was pretty much all the chase after Dom. So about 5 minutes.
The New York
when they
scene
were
is
in
actually
New
in
York?
Cleveland. Yeah.
Okay.
Part
Alright.
of the New York scene was in Cleveland. Part of it was in New York. And
Atlanta,
part of it
right?
was filmed inside of cars that were just sitting there.
Of course.
When all the talent was in the shot. But whenever you would see Vin Diesel out of the car, that was all shot in New York. But no, everything was done from a practical standpoint. And definitely, like I said, one of my favorite stunts was just seeing all those cars piling out of that parking garage.
And they did multiple takes of those cars.
I believe
piling
they
up.
did. If it wasn't just one, I know that they obviously at least did one, but I don't remember at the top of my head if they did more than one or not. I think
because I'm thinking of the logistics of cleaning up the street after dumping.
Oh
all
yeah,
those cars.
no, there was
insane.
no cleaning. If they were gonna do another shot of that, it was definitely just to get the cars falling out of the garage
Oh, okay.
again.
Yeah. Okay.
Because that was the last thing that we filmed that day. It was like, we need to film this part of it, and like I couldn't imagine the cleanup after that. But it was, like I said, that part was just cool to just.
Hey man, hey, lunch break. I think no one's not verified the story, so it could be true. It could be true, but we don't know. We don't know.
Nick, what were the days
don't
like
know.
on set for you?
The days were long.
Wait, Nick. Before you answer that, so you're telling me that them dropping the scaffolding, it was actually them dropping a scaffolding on very, very nice cars?
Yes.
Bastards.
Yes. I could not even imagine, just judging by what I saw myself, how many cars they wrecked for that. I think that, like,
Wait,
there was only
Nick, like they're building replica cars of the cars, right? Like they're not actually like destroying these $500,000 cars.
I'm
Are they?
sure
None of
that,
those
Holy
cars
shit.
are $500,000 cars.
I'm
I
sure
don't know,
that they pieced
some of
together
them
a
are,
lot.
maybe. Some
No,
of them.
I'm sure some of
not
them
in the
they
garage
did
scene.
dressed up to look
Okay.
like it too.
Right.
No, but I'm
yeah,
talking about when
everything was
this. I want to talk about when like because
But there's
you
also
see,
like when the scaffolding falls, there's only like 2 cars that get trapped under that, and then the rock comes and just fucking blasts straight through it.
That's true. No, what I'm saying is like You know that scene where the cars get flipped up and they hit each other because of the force? Like, was that practical or is that CGI?
Well, from what I remember, a lot of stunts that they did at least were practical.
Are you telling me
the thing is, when it comes to supplying cars,
sorry, Nick. I'm sorry for asking these budget questions, man. But I'm fascinated, man. I'm extremely fascinated. I mean, I'm extremely because I keep telling these people that this franchise is mostly practical because I found out, that scene in 7 where the RV drops off of the cliff. They actually dropped an RV off of the side of the cliff and it blows up. Like they actually did it. And Paul Walker's like running on top of an RV and he has to jump and grab the spoiler of the car. Like he had to grab the spoiler. It wasn't like, oh, let's edit this and him grabbing it. It's like, no, he had to jump and grab it.
You have to remember also, Nick hasn't seen any of the other.
He has no idea what you're referencing.
I've tried many times.
I've seen that scene because, like, when you go into like this type of a movie, you want to obviously know a little bit about stunts and stuff like that. By
the way, I want to answer a question in the chat. Austin, it's not an SLS. It's a GTS. It's not a SLS. It's a GTS. It's like
I can say
an AMG GTS.
I can say I did try to give him, when I found out he got hired on, I did try to give him a Cliff Notes version of 5 through 7. I tried.
I don't remember it.
You should have just gone and watched.
No, I'm sorry, Nick, my bad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for asking these questions, man. It's fascinating.
That's why I'm here. Trust
me. Just got too Fast and Furious as well.
Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty interesting to see what they go through when it comes down to it. I know that, like, so there's two sides of cars on films. There's big budget movies like that where they're obviously destroying a lot of cars. When Judas and the Black Messiah was here, they had a lot of people bring their vintage cars in because it's not like you were destroying them or anything like that. So they'd pay people to provide their own cars for the movie. On the other hand, for this movie, they went to a lot of junk lots and stuff like that. I filmed on one of the sets that provides a lot of those types of cars that end up just getting destroyed. It's kind of just like a collector's type thing. You just collect as many cars as you can. And if somebody needs something like that, the stories that you hear from different people who actually like bring on these cars and stuff like that is really interesting. You can walk on their lot and they're like, oh, that car right there was used for this straight to DVD. That one was this one. And but yeah, it's they destroy a lot of cars on these movies is basically what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean,
and Ferris also,
it's $250 million budget. They got the money for it.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I think with all of these really big budget movies, modern big budget movies, they like to weave in and out of practical and CG, or they do CG enhancements of practical stunts.
Yeah,
CG saves them so much money.
Yeah,
like George Miller. Like, you guys know those motorcycle people jumping up and throwing bombs. Like, there's ramps on each side of.
That's all.
Yeah, and he like erases. He erases the ramps.
So much of that is definitely like all those stunts are all practical, and then there's enhancements from CGI. Absolutely.
No, but you guys know what scene I'm talking about, right? Where like they pin him, and he's like caught, and then like they shoot like those bolts.
The harpoons, right? It's the scene where he says he's got to have 2,000 horsepower in that thing.
Yeah.
No, we know exactly which one you're talking about.
No, and then you see those two cars like smack each other, like they smack each other.
Yeah.
Like so.
Yes.
So Nick's telling me that they actually threw two cars against each other. They threw two cars against each other. That's
why would they not do that?
That's fucking wild, dude. That's fucking wild. That's fucking wild. That's fucking
all right.
wild.
Anyways, best stunts.
Wait. Hold on. Ferris. Is that wild?
It's fucking wild. It's wild.
Okay.
It's wild. Hey, Nick, man. You know what, Nick? Thank you, man. Thank you for being here, and like, thanks,
Maddie.
Maddie, you may think you're the biggest Nick fan, but I think that goes to Ferris. Okay? I think Ferris is the biggest.
I'm the biggest Nick fan. I've just been asking him questions for the past 20 minutes, bro. This is fascinating.
Yeah,
like this is crazy.
Listen, that's my girlfriend, and every single time that she pops into here and she hears somebody else's name, she'll accidentally type that name in when she's trying to compliment me.
Like his brother. I'm a big Nate Mulbach fan. I'm like, wait, she's a bigger fan of your brother than you?
Yeah. So,
okay, well, she's your girlfriend.
Yeah,
look out, Maddie.
Hey, fine. She beats me then.
Ferris is coming in hot, so be careful.
So anyways, let's.
I'm a
Do we
Nick
have any other
Molbeck fan.
sequences that any of us really
No,
like? I know that I also definitely enjoyed Dom's first race where he
Yeah,
ends
the
up beating
Cuban
the guy
race.
driving backwards, driving a
Yeah.
fucking bomb, essentially.
Yes.
So what you just said and the all of the New York stuff because Cleveland are my favorite things.
I hate that man.
Cool.
It's because
All right, see you, Matt.
he said
Good to
Cleveland.
have you here.
It's because
All
he
the
said
time.
Cleveland.
I was testing you, Jeff. I was testing you. Hey,
Yeah,
I love
And
my
you
city.
passed.
I love my city.
I know you do.
All right.
Hey Jeff, I'll be right back. Can you drop him?
Ferris, all you gotta do
can
is stop
drop
your mic and
yourself.
stop your cam.
Yeah, just
Yep.
whatever. I'll
Okay.
just drop him. It's
See
fine.
ya.
It's fine. I'll let you. Just so you know, he definitely left it. That's just how he left it. So yeah. Buck's right here in the private chat. You thought you wouldn't have things to talk about. I guess we do have a couple things to talk about. Now, why don't we, at this point here, is there anything else we really want to add to the stunts and sequences, or do we want to move on to?
No, I want to talk
really
about my MVP.
Yeah, we want to talk about. Okay, you sound very eager.
Yes.
So why don't we start with you, and why is it Mia?
All right. It is not Mia. I wish it was. I mean, this movie needed more Mia. But
Every
the
movie needs more
MVP
Mia.
of this movie, without question, in a landslide, maybe the biggest landslide MVP of all, and it goes to Brian Marcos Toretto. Okay?
Get this fucking man off the
This
screen.
this little baby
Hold on.
is the absolute.
Wait. Ferris needs to hear you say this as well. As he
What?
just take Ferris. All right, Ferris. We're on MVPs. Zach is giving his MVP. You'll never guess.
Yeah,
who he chose.
landslide victory for the MVP race. Yeah, it goes to Brian Marcos Toretto. Okay, the absolute most adorable baby in the history of film. He's hilarious. He's listening to
cute
that
baby.
little kid's
He's very-
music.
Very
He's
cute
got
baby.
this fucking shit-eating grin on his face the whole time. He's loving life. Okay, and he elevates this movie to such a degree. We talked, especially before the show about how this movie was a bit of a letdown. Doesn't have all the quotes, doesn't have all the cars that we're used to having. But every single scene with, little Brian is incredible. I can't help but cheese the whole time he is on the screen.
There's one scene that's incredible and one that's cute at the end when he gets his name. But that first scene when
the whole scene where he's on the plane. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about
plane where
look,
after
yes,
he beats the shit. He's like look away. And he turns
Yes.
away, beats
Yeah.
the shit out of the guy, and he's like,
no.
"Is that you or him?"
And then
Good.
but also it cuts
I'm-
to the baby and he's going. He's looking sideways, like, is he guilty or is he looking at the other guy? And then he looks over at the other guy.
I was more so
"Okay,
referring
that's
to
all."
when Dom meets him. Wasn't like
Oh yeah, like when him and Elena are trapped in the
which
glass.
by the way,
box.
they had to have used like 3 different babies because that baby looks like different almost every time you see him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's probably about
No, I
Not-
think the baby, at least throughout the air
There's
or like
2,
the
that's
Shaw
2.
sequence and at the end of the movie, those babies look the same.
Yeah, those 2 are the same. I'm talking about like when you
Yeah.
first meet Brian, it looks like a completely different baby.
Because that baby legitimately looks like it could 100% be Vin Diesel's child.
Yeah.
It looks just like him. It's crazy for a baby and a 50-year-old man to look identical, but they do.
I'm pretty sure that's normal nowadays.
Yeah, maybe. Anyways, he's easily the MVP. Like literally,
He
not even
is. He's
close.
53 years old.
Yeah,
baby or Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel.
Okay.
The baby. The
It's-
baby's
it's
actually
Yoda.
Benjamin Button.
No, it's
but a
Grogu.
Toretto. it's
Grogu. It's Grogu.
Yeah.
It's actually 50.
All right. Well, that's Zach's. Always keeping it classy with his take. Nick, we definitely like to try to figure out like who's the most valuable player. Like why is this person considered the best character in the movie, or what do they do that's worth singling out? I don't know if you have any stories behind them or if you just have a fun choice.
It's The Rock. No, I'm just kidding. I keep saying The Rock.
You could say
Okay,
The
so
Rock.
like
well, you can pick The Rock, but just call him Luke Hobbs. Okay.
Luke
Yeah,
Hobbs.
he's not the Rock.
No. It's here's the thing. As a person
Former
who-
Southern Samoan. Luke Hobbs.
I've been promised a lot of like, oh, this movie is great because of Dom. Dom leads the entire series. And I gotta say, for my first movie, I get it. Like, I understand why, Dominic Toretto is such an important character when it comes to these films. I I've grown to love Vin Diesel for his ridiculousness, just kind of as I've gone on. I know he just released a hit song himself, but and I'm
You mean
surprised
Feel Like
that
I Do,
you-
which is a fucking banger.
Banger.
Right, exactly.
Slammer.
This guy is a genius. He is a genius with a capital J.
But if there was something that drew me in to watching more in this series as a person who hadn't seen it before, and I love Luke Hobbs, don't get me wrong. But I definitely want to watch more because I know that this character is obviously featured in it throughout.
Yes.
Good job.
He is one half of the whole.
Right.
Yeah.
The other half being Brian. of course.
Listrina, John.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Zach stole some of my thunder with little baby Brian.
See,
So
I
I'm
told
gonna
you, it's
pivot.
easy. It's easy
I'm
money.
gonna pivot
Don't you say it.
over
Don't you say it, motherfucker.
to Magdalene Shaw.
Ah,
Okay.
you bastard! You bastard!
That's a good choice too.
She's the one. I mean, that makes the deal with Dom to get
I'm fucking thirsty.
Owen and Decker together to go save little baby Brian. So that was my backup MVP. But 100% agree with Zach. Little baby Brian is the MVP of this film. I might as well be of the franchise at this point.
All right, cool. And Matt, what do you got?
I got Deckard Shaw.
That's what I was gonna choose. He was one of my two.
Yeah, it was. I sit here. If he didn't do that character pivot, like this film doesn't work. If he doesn't say "fucking," I'm a man up and be the bigger man and help these guys out. Doesn't like to be man enough to do what you got to do to make things right, and then get your own part of your family back together in the process. I dig it.
All about family.
And saving Brian.
Agreed.
And saving Brian. That scene is the GOAT scene of the movie.
It all revolves around Brian.
And
Let's call it what it is. All right.
Ferris, who's your MVP?
It's Madeline Shaw. Yes.
Huh?
Magdalene Queenie Shaw.
Yeah, Magdalene Queenie Shaw. Yes. I don't like this Deckard Shaw love. The motherfucker killed Han. Okay, he killed him.
No, we didn't.
Yeah.
No, we didn't.
Did he?
He did kill Han.
He did not.
He did
We
not.
moved on. Unfortunately,
the joke's over?
The bit is old.
Oh, the
The
bit is
joke
old.
is
He is
officially over.
100%
Okay.
alive.
He is
And I can't
alive
wait
because
to
the
see how they
marketing
explain it.
told us it's time to put to bed. It's time to put to rest
Justice
Okay.
for
that he
Han.
is dead.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. Yeah, but still, man, he tried to kill him. You know what I mean? Like
tried to kill him, but he
got
hit
no.
him.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. He got mad at them for fighting against his brother, who is a psychopathic terrorist. So I think you need to check that your brother is a psychopathic terrorist instead of trying to kill the people who stopped him from destroying the world. I just want to point that out.
Yes.
I want to point that out.
To be fair, that's partly why he did what he needed to do in this, because we found out Cypher was the one behind Owen Shaw. So they were both getting hit.
He shouldn't have tried to kill him in the first place. He should have been like, why is my brother acting all crazy terrorist on us? So let me go check
Right,
that out.
and
first.
even worse than killing Han is the fact that he attempted to kill Jack and Mia.
Yes, and Mia.
Like
And Brian.
He blew up the home.
but I'm saying Jack and Mia are innocent bystanders here, right?
Exactly.
They weren't even really part of the crew that was trying to kill Owen.
I do have
Suck
one
it, man.
other. I do have one
sorry,
other
sorry, Matt. Sorry.
MVP, and hear me out.
Oh
God.
God, it's gonna be terrible, isn't it?
It's gonna be like Roman or Tej.
It's Brian O'Connor because the film
Oh,
doesn't
okay.
work without him as well
Yes,
as it
Oh
should.
wow!
Yes, that's.
You know
I
what?
can accept
Yes.
that answer.
In one
guess
way or
that-
another, Brian
right.
is the MVP.
Brian
Yeah,
is the
he's
MVP.
I mean,
We'll just leave
Brian
it at that.
did Dom did get the little trick with the in the beginning.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
Dom did teach me that.
From the Buster used to try.
And
Yeah.
and I, as I said before, and it's yes, we've talked about it before. someone who's alive can easily can have a baby named after them that the family's close with. But
Nico.
knowing the context of the series and the fact that the 7th film literally ends with a meta fourth wall breaking eulogy from Vin Diesel to Paul Walker, naming at the very end the baby Brian is absolutely just, it's trying to say there is a void and we're never going to be able to fill it, but this might be a good start.
Oh, thank God he didn't. Well, thank God he didn't name the baby Paul. I mean, weird.
Of course, that would have been weird because the name Paul it doesn't mean anything to the series, but
Exactly.
Brian is the equivalent to Paul in this case.
But I don't think it would be that weird to name him Paul.
No.
For like
Paulo. You could have named him Paulo.
Right,
sure,
right,
but also like.
that, but what I mean is,
wait, tell me. Did we find out
like,
in this movie that Dominic Toretto's Cuban?
His cousin is Cuban.
His cousin is Cuban.
So it may be on one side of the family's.
We know it's the father's. We know it's the father's because the cousin's last name was Toretto.
Oh, is it Toretto also? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So all I'm
he's
saying
at least
is
he's at least Cuban. He's at least Cuban.
Racially ambiguous.
Racially ambiguous.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, look, at the end of the day, Vin Diesel, it doesn't matter what you say his parents were or whatever, he is always going to be ethnically ambiguous.
The guy identifies as a person of color.
Well, he said he doesn't.
In real life,
he said he doesn't know because he's never met his biological father.
Yeah, but he
has
said
no
because
idea
of who
what
his stepfather is, he identifies as a person of color.
Yeah.
It's amazing what he might be able to do if he used like a 23andMe. But
not Dominic.
No, Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel is.
Vin Diesel
doesn't know what race.
All I'm saying is at the end there, yes, they could have just said Brian. They could have just said Paul. But they did it in a specific way of naming the baby in a very dramatic fashion to end the film.
Yeah.
Which is totally like to be like, we miss you, Paul. Here's a baby that we named after you. And it's the most silly
baby that should be like
3
years old.
I'm saying
baby that should be like 3 years old.
Yeah, by the way, how old is the baby? Did the baby not have a name before that?
No.
It was Marcos. Yeah,
Marcos was the middle name. They were going by
Elena said, I've been calling him Marcos, but that's his middle name. I wanted his father to give him his first name.
You know what, man?
But also,
in
world, naming him Paul, I think works fine because in world, his name doesn't have to have any significant meaning because, Brian's his name Jack, and that's just like
in world, it doesn't have to give. Of course, in world, it doesn't have to give meaning.
You know what?
But then Vin Diesel gave
I know. That's why I think he should have used Paul instead.
I have an
of
idea
Brian.
for a sequel series. I have an idea for a sequel series.
You mean 15, 20 years down the line?
Yeah, I know, but like a sequel series from the main series. Like we need to go like into the future with Jack, Brian, and Nico.
That's probably what they're setting up. Dude. They're gonna give this thing a nice 10 to 15 years to cool off, and then reboot, spin-off, sequel series with the kids.
Well,
Brian,
and also,
Brian, Jack, and Nico.
Brian and Mia were getting ready
having
to
another
have
kid.
A little girl. So
yes,
Vin Diesel will play Brian. Probably.
Oh gosh, dude! So this movie takes place 50 years down the road.
Yeah, Vin Diesel's gonna play young Brian the same way like Mike Myers plays a young version of Guru Pitka in The Love Guru, which is it's a child with a normal sized head that's just Vin Diesel talking like Vin Diesel.
Yo, guys, you guys know that phrase that one bad movie don't ruin your career, and then you watch The Love Guru, and it just. It ruined
anyone else ironically love The Love Guru like I do? Ironically.
No. I love Austin Powers though.
Love Austin Powers.
That's a genuine love though.
But anyways, a genuine love.
We've gone through all this here.
I find Justin Timberlake really stupid, and it's funny. He's like, because he's French, like he's French Canadian. He's like Celine Dion, my idol.
His name is what's his name? His name is it's something Lecoq Grand.
Yes,
is his character's name. Anyways,
I think it's Lecoq Grand.
Yeah. So, anyways, Nick, we've gone through this before. You've only seen this one movie, so we already have our
Hobbs
answers.
And Shaw.
You've only seen this and Hobbs and Shaw. Take Hobbs and Shaw out of the equation because this movie came out before Hobbs and Shaw. based solely on what you saw in this film, would you determine that this is a superhero franchise?
So Matt and I were having this argument before. I disagree with him, so that should give my answer right there.
I said it was.
I don't necessarily think so, and it's just because like I think that where the series started to where it is now, I just see it as needing more and more ideas in order to become more and more not ridiculous. I'm not trying to like trash on it or anything like that. Like I get why people enjoy the movies, but would I consider it a superhero movie? Not necessarily. I see it as just like ridiculous writing, more or less, instead of a superhero.
Okay,
I
so you
think that-
watch a movie with tons of superhumans in it, and you say this is not a superhero movie. Give me a break.
I think it's all in the writing. So that would make you think that.
Keep in mind, Zach, he hasn't got to see Vin Diesel fly or him
You
walk
haven't
through
been able
fire.
to see Vin Diesel get
Oh,
shot
yeah.
multiple times and never bleed.
That's true.
I mean, I saw The Rock bust through his cat.
Oh yeah, you saw.
I
And
expect
wait,
that The Rock is able to do
By
that.
the way,
though.
the movie
you
that
saw
movie,
Luke Hobbs.
not a lot of
rip
time
through
passed
his,
in between. Not
Yeah.
a lot of time passed,
handcuffs.
and that whole scene
It was
when
like
he
a
breaks
few
out of it, which
days.
is like right after he's in the hospital. By the way,
Yeah.
there's only enough time for the characters to travel in different places before he has to fix it. It must be maximum 2 weeks, probably.
Yeah.
But there's this other thing that happens that they don't even think about in Furious 7, which is Shaw also definitely sliced the tendons in Hobbs's inner thighs or his inner legs. Like there's no way that he's able to walk, and he's just totally out there fucking.
No, he
killing
was.
them.
He did have one of his casts was in a leg, so he was.
Yeah,
Bro,
no,
had
no,
cast
I know
on
that,
his face.
but I'm saying that in the same amount of time to heal, knowing that that's cutting muscle and not just like breaking a bone or something, there's no way that he could walk like that.
Well, I mean,
Um,
are you familiar with like the Wolverine or Deadpool or like?
And what do they all have in common?
So,
The
yeah,
superhero.
They're superheroes.
Superheroes.
They're superheroes.
They're
of course.
superheroes.
I told you weren't going to win this argument.
I'm not trying to.
So,
Um,
well, I'm glad you're not
Nick,
trying to.
it's a
because
superhero
you
film.
lose.
Let me tell you why it's a superhero film. All right, when Dominic Toretto got shot, right? He got shot once, and the bullet bounced off his body, bounced right off his body. And two, he mind projected an accident he's never seen, and then he figured out the homie was running nitrous meth because he smelled it.
Nitro meth.
Nitro meth.
Nitro meth.
Yes, and then
Totally
in
different.
Furious 7, he has premonitions of things to come. Yeah, I mean him and
He
Luke
drove
Hobbs
a
are the
car.
two biggest
He
superheroes.
drove a car through the biggest plane ever created and survived. Nick,
He not only drove it through,
Nick,
yeah,
he
He
fought
drew-
a,
he-
survived.
He
fought a
drove it
building.
into fire. He
Nick,
drove it
he
into
fought a
fire.
building.
He didn't just drive through
Nick.
fire. He walked through fire. He landed in the fire,
Wait.
got up,
Yes.
and slowly walked out without a scratch on
No,
him.
no, no. Hold on. No,
No,
he
no.
landed away from the fire, walked
And then
back
he went
so
into
that he
the
could
fire.
walk through the fire.
Through the
Also,
fire.
Nick.
He walked.
Also,
and
Nick.
the
He went
thing
out
is,
of
it
his
wasn't a
way.
path
He
in the
fought
fire.
a
It wasn't
building.
pathway in the
He
fire.
flew.
Fought
He
a
flew
building
over.
fire.
and won.
Wait. He flew over a freeway gap to catch someone and land safely on top of a car.
Yeah.
And
Again,
I'm not
let me
saying it's
repeat
not
this to you.
ridiculous.
He fought a building and
It's
won.
super.
He fought a
super
building.
ridiculous. You're right.
He's a superhero. Like people want to be
It is.
Iron Man. People want to be Captain America. Nah, me and John Messina want to be Dominic Toretto.
Luke Hobbs
Sure.
punches a
Sure.
steel container and puts a fucking like 8-inch.
You know
dent
what?
in it.
I think that Ferris, you and John, you definitely can be Dominic Toretto. I mean, together, the two of you got at least the ethnically diverse, ambiguous thing down. If you combine
That's true.
if you combine
That's
each
true.
other,
That's true.
Exactly.
like
exactly.
between
I've
the two of you, you can be
gotten-
like,
I've
I don't
gotten
even know
every
what I
race.
am.
I've gotten every race. I've been called African American.
Oh, that's
Mexican,
crazy.
Spaniard.
I've only ever gotten the
No, no,
Puerto
one.
Rican.
The real Ferris is Mexican.
I've been called Mexican before.
No, the real Ferris is Mexican. You are the faker, sir.
Hey man, listen to me,
Oh, no.
you bootleg walking motherfucker. You watch your mouth. Right? I will not tolerate
Alright,
this
guys.
disrespect.
Relax.
It's not
This
disrespect.
is the family show now. Come on.
Yeah.
That's
It's
true.
not
Yeah.
disrespect. The real
You
Ferris was in
never
the
turn your
chat
back
earlier.
on family.
All right. Well, I think that basically that just about does it. I think that this was a very interesting
He fought
conversation.
a
We got to learn.
building and won.
Dude, he stomped a fucking whole entire parking structure to the ground. He
He
stomped
stomped
on
a,
it.
he stomped
Collapsed.
a mud hole. He stomped a mud
Remember,
hole, bro.
when you fight the streets win.
Yeah.
Not
not
Toretto.
against Dom.
He
Dom
survived
wins.
a helicopter
Dom defeated the
exploding.
street.
So, anyways,
Sure they did.
this was definitely, this conversation went much longer than we originally anticipated, considering how apathetic. Like, we all like the movie, but we're
Yeah.
all much more apathetic towards it. I think it's also because of how high we were riding off of the last 3 films.
Especially 7. I mean, I think most of us, we all kind of agreed. We all
7
really
has
loved
the
7.
kind of ending that transcends series finales for a film franchise. You can literally, if you want to feel sad, you could just pull up the end of that. But
Or
I
you
think
can
that-
pull up my in memoriam of the gentlemen on this show.
of us
Yeah,
laughing as we think about Paul Walker's past.
I mean, at least
Yeah,
I
I
was
was
I'm
beautiful.
waving, so at least
Yeah,
it's
yeah. John
Zach
did
just
his
up
classic.
laughing.
John did his classic when he's talking.
where
He
I'm,
goes like that a
I'm
lot.
just like
Laughing like an
bursting
asshole.
at
Yeah.
the seams. Yeah.
Yeah,
You got
So-
Quisha going.
exactly. So,
Wait,
all right.
was this another
I think
video?
I think it's
Did I
time.
miss this video?
Oh, last
Yeah,
week.
you
just
weren't
the
here last
intro.
week, so yeah.
Oh,
We're
man.
we're just talking about what we look like in those intro videos.
I'm
which-
laughing.
which- we didn't
tonight
have
is
one
an
for this
act.
week.
Tonight it's an outro video because apparently I didn't send it to Buck like I thought I did a couple.
Yeah,
All right.
Buck said that you never did it, and I'm like,
Outro
you
video.
showed it to us. You definitely did it.
Yeah,
So,
I'm,
all right.
I'm like, did I not send it? He's like, yeah, you didn't send it. I'm like, I thought I sent it when I sent all the other ones. He's like, no, you didn't. I'm like, okay, well, you want to ask an outro?
Either way. So here we go. We are going to wrap up here. Thank you everyone for coming through. We're going to go through, do our plugs here. We'll start with you, Nick. Where can people find you?
Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. But the big plug right here is Watt Real Entertainment on YouTube. You can find us there talking movies and YouTube and all that junk. And like I said, I think it's amazing what you guys do here. Fantastic. So thank you so much for having me on.
My co-founder, everyone.
Always
Thank
enjoy tuning in, especially when our guys from the channel are on Schmoe the Money. But thank you again so much for having me on and letting me kind of share some of these stories that I've never been able to share on a screen like this before. So thank you so much.
The stories were
Awesome.
an absolute delight. So we were happy.
Yeah,
to
they
have
were
you.
great. And I think that none of us appreciated it any less than Ferris. Ferris hated it. Ferris wasn't happy that you were here at all.
Nick, you
Ferris is
ain't
gonna
hold,
send you some flowers and chocolates tomorrow.
hey man,
so-
you ain't holding out on us on these stories, right? Like, this is all the stories.
no.
Okay, that's what I'm.
Ferris, we've been on for
So-
an hour and 20 minutes.
Eh,
Please.
Right.
just-
Sorry.
Yeah, Ferris.
There we
Ferris, where can people find you?
The Let's Get Ready Network every Mondays and Fridays. Fridays at 8. Mondays at 4. And next week here, 6:30.
Yeah.
We
6:30
dive deep
Pacific.
into 6:30 Pacific. We dive into the world of Black Superman.
That's true.
I still got to
Absolutely.
make an intro for that.
Lustrina.
You can find me here at least one more time next week.
Mm-hmm.
Just one more time. One last ride.
I'm also
One
at
last
Ferris
ride.
Mathana on Twitter. My bad.
Yeah, that too. Zach, people can find you here. Doing this.
you can find me here also for at least one more week at 9:30 Eastern time on Thursday. You can also please check out my YouTube channel, just Zach M. Trying to get that video up to 1 million views. So we just need that final push, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, he's not being sarcastic. He has a single video that has been on YouTube for 14 years and it has almost 1 million views.
We're almost there, guys.
and
I gave you one last week, Zach. I gave you one last week.
Zach, can you plug the name of the video again?
Yes, a girl takes seagull to face on roller coaster. I believe that's the name of the video.
Okay, let me write that down. So
Is that a euphemism?
No.
Oh, yeah, that's the name of the girl. Girl takes
Can we
seagull to
actually-
face
can we
on
pull it
roller
up?
coaster.
Are we allowed to pull it up?
Technically,
Yeah, go
he's the
for it,
owner.
dude. Yeah,
I'm gonna see if I
actually,
can
it's
pull it up
claimed
real
because it has music on it.
Just mute it.
But
Yeah, we don't need the music part. So
yeah, it's
hold
gonna
on.
cost
Let me
me
check.
like
So it's
7 views.
Girl takes seagull to face on roller coaster.
Yeah.
Let me see here.
It's a very
Zach
lengthy
M.
title.
All right,
Yeah,
so you
dude,
got about
this is the old days of
140
YouTube
I
where
gotta
you
go.
just you
Gotta go
type
break my
out a
fast.
whole description.
All right.
Catch you guys.
See ya.
Catch you guys
All
later.
right.
All right, see you,
Bears.
Bears.
See you, Bears.
All right.
And then Matt, real quick, where can people find you before I share this video?
Watt Real Entertainment. Like I said, Nick is the co-founder. Mondays Spin from the Real. Sundays Real Talk with Nick. And then starting this week, we're doing Saber Reels again, but we're just going Friday tomorrow, even though it's not going to be on Fridays. And and this Saturday on our post show for Free For All. So
Yeah. And then, by the way, I'll plug my stuff as well. You can find me here, Jeff1106. That's my Twitter. We also have this show on Thursdays. After this, we're going to take a little break, and then we're after Hobbs and Shaw, and then figure out our next move. Might be the Step Up series. If so, then we'll definitely have people like Zach and Ferris back on for sure. John, if you like Step Up, you're always welcome back. You can
We
get
can
into
just keep
Step
calling
Up.
it the Family Show, even
Yeah,
if
we
the
can just
title
keep
no
calling
longer
it the
makes
Family
sense.
Show. We'll do the Family Show : Step Up or something. But other than that, we have our main show on Tuesdays, 9 Eastern, in which we have our main Schmoe Me the Money show, where we have people break down the matches from the week before. We also have tomorrow at 8 Eastern. We're going to have, Matt will be on for it as well, our Falcon and the Winter Soldier finale breakdown. That'll be a lot of fun. And then tomorrow night at 11 Eastern, we're going to actually have a live Mortal Kombat review. That'll be a lot of fun as well. And then also, just like so many other channels, we're also going to be doing our own Free For All recap show that's going to go live at about 6:15 Pacific, 9:15 Eastern, maybe a little later than that. We'll see.
Schmoe Me the Real. It's right there in front of you. Come on, let's do it.
I know, man. Look, we got some stuff that's exclusive to us that we got to take care of first. So we wish could promise you, I wish. But other than that, we are going to leave you guys with this video right here. This is it.
Full screen it.
I'm full screening it, man. I muted it. So this is what happens when you feed seagulls
editing,
next to a
dude.
roller coaster. Here I am
Real
taunting
picture.
a seagull with the
That
French
is me.
fry next to the roller coaster.
At Busch Gardens.
Shigra. And then here we go.
All right.
Pay attention. Thanks for the indicator, man.
Dude, this
good
is
edit.
like very early days of YouTube. This is 2007. YouTube barely existed yet.
Is this some stock footage? What is this?
Oh,
This is the onboard. This is the onboard, the stuff you can buy, the souvenir video.
Coaster.
Yes,
Okay.
I was chucking French fries in front of the roller coaster.
And-
There you go. For
The end.
legal reasons, that's a joke. I was not actually throwing French fries in front of that roller coaster.
Anyways,
Sounds
thank
like
you
a
so
Nick
much,
thing.
guys. Next week we got our finale to the Family Show. Until the next time, in which case we will be talking about Hobbs and Shaw. That will be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about Black Superman. It'll be great. So, yeah. Have a great night, everyone. Hope you have a good time, and good night.
I'm here like for one night, so we don't gotta waste time. I know that you feel it. My hands up on your waist. enough alone. And I might say goodbye, but right now,